engineering and polymer science. So during my 4 years, I have worked on two projects, short internships during my summer. Those were the summer internships, and the final year thesis, which was unfortunately not completed due to the COVID situation. That's it. The first internship that I did was in ICL, CSIR NCL Pune. It involved study on dye-sensitized solar cells, organic photovoltaics. So that was my first-hand experience working in lab actually, and that kind of motivated me to pursue a research-oriented career, I'd say, because the way I used to watch people working, it kind of inspired me, the work they were doing, especially in the sustainable energy conversion devices, because the group was focused on that. And then after my third year, instead of choosing an industrial internship, I chose a research internship at DIIT Pune, and there I worked on coatings, thermochromic coatings for for buildings, for thermally comfortable environment buildings. And then in my final year, I was working on atomic transfer radical polymerization, ATRP, which was photo-induced. That was something unique about it. So we tried a couple of, so I did the literature survey till month of, I guess, December, or at the end of the December, and I had started working. Mid-sems came in between, but I was still working kind of, and initially I was getting results while working in the lab, and I was the project was in progress actually. Then suddenly it all got halted.
So what is the next plan after this? What you are planning?
Next plan.
I mean, you are about to graduate, right? So are you planning to go for a job, or what's your plan?
I'm not planning to go for a job. I want to explore more in the field. So I had applied for my master's during my final year, and I have got accepted at TU Delhi for material science. Then, my priority is this TU Delhi. I had also applied for integrated PhD programs in US, but fortunately I got rejected in two of them.
Let me ask you one thing. Have you given your GRE or no?
Yeah, I've given my GRE.
Okay.
And TOEFL.
Do you get a good score in your GRE, or it was a okay score?
I got okay score, not good score.
Okay. And did you try to apply in schools which are the top schools, or did you apply at like level 2 schools too in the US?
Actually, due to my GRE score, it wasn't quite excellent. That's why most of the US universities require a good above average GRE score. That's why in US I applied for PhD at two universities, Akron and Delaware, for integrated PhD. But in Europe, actually they didn't ask me for the GRE score. It was only TOEFL, and my TOEFL score was, it was good. That's why I got advantage for the master's the applications I applied in the Europe.
So here is the thing. Let me go through your questions. I think I understand your situation now. And I have your questions also, so I'm going to go through them. So let me walk through your questions, and I will answer if you have more questions. Okay. So, for example, you talked about what are the challenges and advantage of pursuing an integrated PhD program as compared to the master's after undergrad, right?
Right.
So there are no challenges, to be honest. I think the actually the challenge is to get an admission. The, chal- the challenge is to get an admission. Okay.
Okay.
And the thing is that if you, and I think that is the reason why your application got rejected, is because you didn't had a good GRE score and you applied for a PhD program. And because the PhD program most of the time are funded, they will pay you a scholarship. And that is the reason. But if you would have applied for the master's program, it could be that you could have got admission. Okay. So that is one thing. I think if somebody gets an admission to integrated PhD program right away after undergrad, it's a good thing because you save a lot of time, and then you can spend a lot of time in doing research. But at the same time, the challenge is just to get into the program. But if you get into a master's program also, I think it's a good thing because let's say if you are doing a good job in master's program, then you can also work out with a professor and convert into a PhD after that. That is a possibility. But the only challenge here is for masters, you have to pay from your pocket. Okay. And I'm gonna go through some other things later on. While applying for internship under a professor or industry, what factors should be considered? How do you proceed with the application? I think the number one factor is the interest and the work you have done, because that is more important, especially internship, right? Doesn't matter. Industry internships are feasible, but again it depends on what work you have done. So let's say, for example, if you have done work in batteries, then you can get internship in Tesla, for example. I'm like just giving you an example. But if so, it has to be a related field to get an internship in industry. But with a professor, sometimes, let's say if you are working some area, they are like, this guy is very enthusiastic and he likes research. Why can't you come here and explore? But industry internship usually is like 50-50, explore and then you have to do some work also. Okay. Given the current situation around the world, many universities are planning online programs, and international student like me, how to opt? So that's a good question. So I have spoken few students who have got admission at Delft. I know that they have gone online. So my advice to them is there is no point if you are going online, because first thing you have to pay from your pocket, and then you are doing online programs. So it doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
So personally, I don't suggest that. I think I like your idea. If I was you, you know what I will do is I will probably, looks like you are not in rush, so I think that's a good thing. So what I will do is I will probably get a 1 year experience or a research experience somewhere at good institute at India. I will try not to go to CSR labs or something. I will probably try to go to IITs or something and work in a professor, because I don't think you have enough publications or something, and so that might give you probably a good edge. Okay, and some good references. So if you can get if you are able to work for a year or so at some IITs, a good ones, or a good professor, or who can guide you, help you in getting an admission, references, and basically give you a good idea on research and all that. I think that's a good thing, to be honest. But don't go to CSR labs. Go to go to IIT. Okay. And so, as I said, so I would do that, and probably next year, if the situation looks like it's going to be fine, I will do that. The other way also, I would suggest you. I think it is not a bad way, because I'm not sure if the COVID situation is going to be okay next year. Let's say, right? Let's assume if whatever happens, and let's say next year, because you have to apply again, right? So I'm assuming that you may want to improve your GRE score, and if something happens, if it doesn't get better or anything, my suggestion to you would be is another way to look at it. Rather than working with a professor as an internship, why don't you apply for a integrated MTech program at IITs? Let's say if you are able to get it. because that
Right, sir.
what that will do is, let's say if you are able to get at IIT Delhi or IIT Bombay or at any good place, IIC Bangalore, you are able to get into a chemical engineering program for MTech, right?
Right, sir.
I can tell you for sure after that, coming for a PhD program to US will be a piece of cake. Would not be that difficult for sure,
True.
and you won't waste your time too, because you will have a degree.
Right.
Because if you're not gonna do this project, is doing a project is not a degree. Is it's so as I said, it depends on the situation, right? The chances that it's gonna be okay 1 year after that the situation are maybe 50-50, but for sure after 2 year everything will be fine, because there will be vaccine and all that. So what
Right,
I'm
sir.
saying, if you look at that, if you take that safety margin, it would be, and then let's say for example, if you're able to secure an admission even after a year, right?
Right, sir. After preparing for my gate and scoring good in gate and then getting an admission into
Right.
IITs.
So what I'm saying, you will get enough time. Then you don't have to worry about loan. You don't have to worry about anything. You can maintain your interest. You have another better degree from a good institution from India. And then, as I said, there are many students who have done MTech and from India and are actually, to be honest with you, they are more sought outed students for PhD programs. And the reason is because a professor thinks that a person has a good research background. Because undergrad, nobody imagine, right? You can have a good research background and how much you do. But for if you have done your MTech, then you have a good research background and so forth. So that helps for sure,
True.
right? So as I said, this will also help you not wasting your time. Again, you have to figure that out, the time and all that. So, but just keep that in mind. That what happens if next year the situation becomes the same and or get worse, and I'm not able to secure admission, then I will literally waste my time, right? So just think that. As far as your question on the current research technology leading to sustainable energy conversion material future scope, I mean the future scope of the energy conversion is pretty good, I think. To be honest, I mean if you look at solar cells or fuel cells or batteries are not conversion though, but any conversion technology, thermoelectric, as I said, fuel cells, solar, and many others, to be honest, which may not require more chemistry, but the energy conversion, energy storage are future, both, right? So if you are working in any technology that is related to energy conversion and energy storage, they are all future technologies. And the only thing I would say, you have to keep that in mind, there are some technologies who are more mature. That means people can buy them when I say mature. And there are some technologies who are still in research phase, right? So for example, biofuels, let's say, right? How do you convert a compost into a fuel? That to me is still under research. There is no product. You can't go and buy biofuel, right? In economic rate. If you look at fuel cells, which where you converting a chemical energy into electricity, using a chemical process basically. If you look at that, they are mature. There are companies who sell fuel cells. There are fuel cell vehicles and things like that. So it's coming to the point where it's becoming a mature technology. Solar, it's very much mature technology. Everybody does that. You can buy them and so forth. So, and same with energy storage, right? Lithium ion batteries are everywhere, but there are some which are not so mature. So I would say in general, energy conversion and storage technologies are the future. So definitely from research point of view, that is the area you want to work on. There is no doubt, because there are so many challenges and there is so much learning, to be honest. And as I said, there are companies, whether big companies like Tesla or Samsung or LG or many Chinese companies. I'm pretty sure there are Indian companies who are investing, who are already in this market. But at the same time, there are many startups also who are working on these technologies. So I'm saying that the industry has a wide range too. And definitely from research point of view, this is one of the best area to work in, no doubt in my mind, because that's where a lot of learning is. There's so much which is to be done yet. It's not a mature technology, right? Like internal combustion engine, for example. What are you going to do there? Right? And what is the difference in working in a material scientist to working in industry compared to research lab? I would say it depends on industry, first of all. But one thing I would tell you for sure is, if you're working in an industry versus research lab, the only difference, well, the biggest difference I would say is, you as an industry, you always worry about the product. You always have this mind is, like, say if you're doing some research, you always have to think, I have to sell it, I have to make profit. So the economics also plays a big role. If you're working in, let's say for example, a DRDO lab or a CSI lab, they don't have to worry about cost, right? They're like, here it is, do whatever you want, right? So that's the nature. But if you, let's say if you're able to work in an industry, they always say you have to worry about cost, and that's where the biggest challenge is. I mean, if you look at, for example, NASA and SpaceX, it's a very good example, right? I mean, NASA never had to think about the cost. I mean, they, at one point of time, when their space program shut down, is because of the cost. But if you look at SpaceX, right, they were right from the beginning. They're like, no, it cannot be the way NASA did it. We have to do it. So, and that's where the challenges come up. Then they say, we have to reuse our rockets. We have to do this. We have to do this. And then they get research and new things came up. So the economics plays a very big role. So let's say tomorrow, I can tell you one thing. Let's say, for example, if you can make a fuel cell out of platinum, nothing will be problem. No, there is no problem, because it's a noblest material. There will be no impurities. The fuel cell may run for hours and hours and many years with no problem. But as soon as you put cost to it, and then you say, I can't use the expensive material, I have to use very cheap material, and then the degradation starts. So the challenge is how to use it, how to use a cheap material and still work on it. It still can last forever, right? So this is the basic difference between an industry, and so the industry poses more challenges on you. And then if you are, depends on where you are working on. Let's say if you are working on the technical sales side of it, then there are more challenges. Then you have to convince customer also, buy my product, not other ones. So there are, again, depends on where you are. If you are deep down in the research, you don't worry. But if you are close to the customer, then you have to worry about other things, how to market it, right? So definitely industry poses more challenges, and it's all run by economics for sure. Okay. So, but for you, I would say, Pratish, my advice for you is just keep that in mind. I think it's a good thing not going to TU Delft and say online classes doesn't make sense. I'm personally not a big fan of asking students that you should take a loan and go for education if there's other way to work on it. In your case, I would say go for an MTech program, publish some good papers, get some good references, try to get into a good school in India. Then you will have an MTech degree, you will not waste your time. And then it will help you also to publish more work and make new contacts. And after that, let's say you are able to get a good GRE score, because you may be able to give your GRE again, and you will have an MTech degree from some good schools. It will be much helpful. But don't compromise on school for sure. Don't go below IITs, because if you're going to do that, then there may be other challenges in terms of learning, because you want to go to a good school so that you can have a best professors and good labs and good projects to work on. And of course, the brand matters a lot. So you have a good brand name. Everybody knows about IITs, right? So that's very important. And after that, I said, if you have done your MTech there, published some good papers, good GRE school, I can bet you will get into one of the best schools in US or anywhere else with full scholarship. And if you look at the situation right now, not COVID situation, it may work out in your favor. I mean, you can't. What are you going to do? I mean, you can go and join TU Delft, but you will be sitting at your home taking classes. That would be like There was an article actually on Wall Street where a girl from I think Ludhiana or somewhere went to Cambridge for her MBA, took a loan of £60,000, and after 3 months she has to come back home. And because the MBA program I think in UK is like a year or so or something like that, and now for rest of the year she's at Ludhiana, taking online classes, spending £60,000. I mean, it's so unfortunate, I mean, and there is no job security too now, so that's like total waste. I mean, you go there for an experience, so if you don't get that, what's the point? Yeah, if they're saying, oh, okay, we're gonna give you 90% scholarship and so forth, I would say you can think about that. Then you can say, not a bad idea. Let me see. Then I probably can take online classes. Maybe 10% is not that bad. But if you have to pay everything from your pocket, I'm not sure.
If I get a scholarship, the degree which I would be getting, it would be mentioning like online course, right? Online master's program.
Where?
After I finish at UDEL.
You have to check.
If I pursue,
you have to check with them. I don't know about that.
okay. Check.
I don't think that will happen, but who knows? To be honest. But you
Yeah,
have
right.
to
Because
check.
that will be other problem because
I don't know what would be the problem, to be honest with you, because everybody knows why it's why and what is the reason that is going on. Because schools are losing a lot of money also. Though I'm pretty sure they will do whatever they want. Even to be honest with you, as I said, I have spoken. You are like probably third or fourth student who had got admission at UDEL from India, and I've spoken to, and I can bet you they will bend much more now because everything is online. They will be like, let's make some money and give them some scholarship. Again, for me, if you get into a good IIT for an MTech program, would be a better deal, to be honest, rather than doing this online thing, because you will be at home, and maybe the situation is good after 6 months. But again, if they are offering you a 90% scholarship or something, I can still see like, okay. But if you have to pay everything from your pocket, I don't understand, because to be honest with you, if you apply for a master's program in US and you are paying money from your pocket, whatever score you have, you can get admission to a decent school. You will get, trust me. But I think now I understand why you got rejected, because you applied for an integrated program. So that is a commitment from the school that they want you to give a scholarship. Anything else, Pritish?
no, sir. That was quite helpful.
Okay, I hope it's helpful to you. But as I said, plan out.
Yes.
Yeah. But don't get too much fascinated about I have to go outside. At least at these times. So and moreover, if you have to take loan, because there are a lot of students right now in US who have taken loan, no jobs, and they are coming back. A lot of them, to be honest. And I'm pretty sure that this is not just US, everywhere. Okay. Okay. Good luck, Pritish.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Talk to you later, man.
Okay.